In this case, it's going to be the property where the wind turbines.
Okay. So now when you refer to a district that is going to receive TIF money for development, how do you apportion that district? And how do you tell one district from another? Are they both referred to as districts?
Yeah, you have to delineate them on the map. No, you have one district. In this case, you're looking at a commercial grid, industrial grid wind farm project, correct?
Mm.
So they're going to be placed on a mountaintop somewhere. Okay, you're going to have a geographical area there. Whether you decide to adopt and have it extend someplace is a local decision.
So the project itself is the TIF district?
Is delineated, yes.
All right.
The project itself, and if you vote to extend that downtown or something like that, that is a vote you have to propose.
What do you call the area that you set aside to receive the benefits of this TIF?
That is the TIF district. I mean, that is what the area, what...
My understanding is that when you are setting up a TIF, you are setting up a project of your own that is going to be funded by the money you will receive from the TIF from the company. And that has to be projected in advance what you're going to use it for.
Well, remember that there's a high level of customization. If you think about the three different levels of projects and expenditures that I talked about before, there are actually towns that have a delineated geographic TIF district where the legislative body approves expenditures outside that geographic district, but they are made necessary by the creation of the district. There are towns where all of the municipal projects are inside the boundaries of the geographic TIF district. Okay, it depends on how far is the is it only a company project that establishes the TIF district? How far is the company project where some other municipal developments, improvements / upgrades might take place? Those are part of the discussions that you need to have at the local level. Do you want to capture revenue, new investment from a specific geographic district and then design expenditures that apply in the entire municipality? Okay, it's such as the case of, we were talking earlier about a revolving loan fund to encourage development. Again, that you would determine what would be appropriate.
Would you have to designate a geographical area with your revolving loan fund?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Would you have to designate a geographic area with your revolving loan fund? In other words, this, like a TIF district, has to be a designated area. Would those receiving revolving funds have to be within this designated area?
Yeah, thank you for that question. There's the development program that the voters see that you would approve, you will vote up or down, basically includes a specific section that has 3 columns, and that's included in the sample that I sent you. And basically every idea that is proposed has to be listed, and then typically the second column has to specify whether that money is going to be spent within the district, outside the district, or throughout the entire municipality. And the third column has to show where it's tied to the statute. Okay? There are basically, I think, 2.5 pages in the statute that pertain to specific projects that are allowed within TIF law.
Okay, does that with your TIF, do you have to include all three of them, or can you select one and ignore two?
You customize it. Again, if you want...
You can, though. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not state regulation that you're going to have all three. One's going to get more favor than the other two.
It's whatever the town decides. Again, if you... The best analogy that I could come up with was, a vehicle that is highly customized. It's up to you to shop around. When you go to a dealership, you decide whether you're going to buy or lease, where you're going to get heated seats or not. You may end up walking away and buying a previously owned vehicle. There's a lot of customization within the TIF statute. And typically also what my department does is we invite municipalities to send us a draft application prior to the hearing so that I can personally look it over and make sure that it complies with statute. The only thing different that comes to my department after voter approval are 4 pieces of paper that technically have to be filled out, ending with a cover letter right at the top that would be signed by you, Jean, and then it comes to us for review. But I would say it's very important that, if at all possible, that we get to see a draft prior to that going to being available at town office prior to the hearing for folks to look at. I'm sorry, I think somebody else had a question. Yes, go ahead.
There was an example of the sewage treatment plant.
Yes.
Obviously, wind power isn't affecting a sewage treatment plant.
Right.
But you said you could use the TIF monies to upgrade or do something like that? Or, I could see, say you had a business that was adding flow to your treatment plant and had to upgrade it.
The municipality basically has to make the case. What your job with your consultant is going to entail is going to be looking through the TIF statute very specifically and then making the case. And it's all varied. For example, I think one of your questions was something related to a firehouse, for example. Firehouse upgrades are allowed within TIF statute. And let me get right to the one that talks about the sewage, so I can tell you exactly. That can be costs that are outside the district. Let's assume for a second that this only comprises company property. Okay? So then the municipality could propose outside sewer upgrades, including storm, water lines, electrical lines, improvements to fire stations, which I think was the question that you had posed to me on the phone the first time we spoke, streetscape improvements. So that's just a way for you to, take those TIF revenues and put them into infrastructure, capital expenses. Again, there's a really long list, and every TIF is different. So it's going to take, some sitting down with the proper committees, and I'm sure you've already had citizen input in terms of some kinds of projects perhaps that people may like to see, or whether people are talking about, sending revenues to the general fund. Any other questions? You want to see numbers? How else can we help?
Can I ask a question on the wind power project again, just so I understand it? The town will shelter, in that case, 75% of the revenue, of the tax revenue from the wind power project into a TIF project. So only 25% of the taxes are added to the assessed value, to the, how do I ask this? The state education dollars, the money from the state will be reduced only by that 25% increase
Oh,
of the tax revenue.
I think I understand what you're asking me. It was basically the 75% that was being sheltered had no impact. Basically, again, it was sheltered. It sheltered the municipality from adjustments to the revenue, the state revenue sharing, and state aid to education, and then of course the county taxes payments. The other 25% is, if you think of it as like this, in other words, the first time that something it turns into a fork, in some cases, not in all cases, is what percentage is going to be sheltered and is going to be to become the TIF revenues, and then what percentage we're going to send to the general fund, and again, use like any other general fund monies. Then what happens over here with the portion that's going to be sheltered, there's another additional fork like this, and then there's a company allocation and a municipality allocation. But again, not all the time, because sometimes it's 100% that gets captured. Sometimes there isn't 100% that gets captured. It's what you determine, and that's why you need to play with the numbers and the spreadsheets. And then the other thing that happens is in the second fork out of the, again, the sheltered, the TIF revenues, sometimes the municipality, it all goes to the developer. This is a percentage that goes to the developer, and the municipality decides we want it all to go to the, we're going to redirect it to the general fund again, or we need X dollars to fund projects. Yeah.
Okay. Any portion that doesn't go to general fund, and that's assuming the percentage going to TIF, will have no immediate direct impact on the overall taxpayers' bills, is what I'm saying. It will not. If you apply 100% to general fund, you can relieve some of the cost to the taxpayers on their property taxes. If you, on the other hand, go all 100% TIF, then there's no relief for individual taxpayers because you've actually haven't added general fund to do so.
That's correct, and that includes the company or the developer. Whatever monies go to the general fund provide, in essence, tax relief, including the company or developer who's in the same municipality.
You said, excuse me, under TIF law, there's projects or projects that are allowed under state law, under the TIF law. If you create a TIF, let's just take the sewer example with the windmills. Because sewer upgrades are allowed under state law, is that automatically allowed in any TIF, or if the windmills don't contribute anything to the sewer system, and the town votes in their TIF to upgrade the sewer system, because that's what the town wants to do with that TIF revenue, and it's allowed by law, then is the department going to allow that? Or is the department going to say, no, you can't do your sewer system because it's not really, the windmills didn't do anything with the sewers?
Well, it's...
Whose voice kind of overrides? Is it the town or is it the department?
The two voices are going to be in alignment with this statute, but
but sewers are allowed.
You can make the case with the sewer is that you're going to create economic development by allowing businesses, existing businesses, to expand. So we'll say the mill, or expand your downtown area, or bring in new businesses for the water treatment plant. That could be tied into that. I pretty much, I have no purview in this arena, but venue, but it's pretty much a slam dunk. If you're going to bond yourself for a sewer district, I mean, that you can make a case that it's tied to economic development.
That's correct.
Without too much difficulty.
That's very succinct.
Along those lines, okay, now you mentioned upgrading the sewer system So,
Without too much difficulty. I mean,
That's very
Yeah.
succinct.
along those lines, okay, now, you mentioned upgrading the sewer system, so some